With my family, heavy duty went down by 44%. Serious risks include heart attack, stroke, and blood clots. Don't take my family if you've had any of these or have uncontrolled high blood pressure, and smoke, could be pregnant, or have or had osteoporosis, liver disease, undiagnosed vaginal bleeding, certain cancers, or an allergic reaction to it. Don't use longer than 2 years as bone loss may occur. Pregnancy loss can occur, and changes in periods may make it hard to know if you're pregnant. If you think you are, stop taking it right away. Other risks are depression, suicidal thoughts or actions, abnormal liver tests, high blood pressure, and passing of the thyroid. Less bleeding, same life? I'll take it. Ask your doctor about my family. My life, my family.
Crack that full of thumb like shit. Oh shit, look who it is, it's the white Miles Davis. Feel like Tiger driving when I'm making payments. When you see me, you always posted with the lamest. When I see you, you ain't say shit. You be like Richard Swift performing dope man for second place. Still flooding basements, and I'll be on that 22 Dr. Scout winning, trying to beat the K shit while on vacation. And if he was on the track to tell your ass to stop complaining and find a new occupation, and he don't be on that gay shit like the warrior. Well, come on, play with my nose. White people hate me more than they love avocado toast. I don't wear the fucking designer clothes. I'm mobbing to Paris, but not before I lace a Connor hose. I got that. Yeah, I got that Sun Weaver. It's nasty. I'm a hoe. I'm a lyrical lethal weapon. I'm Daddy Lumber in this dick. I'm too old for this shit. Spitting with two cooler lips. I will snatch your bitch, then snatch your soul. Will I give it back? Well, who knows? It all really depends on how the game goes. If it's all in my favor, then she too will grow. I take my pimping real seriously just to let you know. And if you don't know, bitch, now you know. Don't talk to me about nothing but about some cash flow. Yeah, your blood. All I got for a bitch is hard dick buffalo. Fuck, I'm all out of both. You know what I'm saying? These bitches coming down by fucking dozen. That's why you keep a dollar in your motherfucking pocket, young blood. One time for your son.
That shit got me up. So with the game, now you can't hear. Fuck the fucking system. Bring my niggas, ayy. Yeah, I'm on the drugs. Yeah, I'm high as fuck. Dog up in my cup. That shit got me up. Chillin' with my gang. Now you can't hear. Fuck the fucking system. Bring my niggas, ayy. I said fuck the system, ayy. Nigga got a problem, boy, I pull up where you stay. Niggas all up in my way, riding in my lane. Took off in that Yoda gear, I just did the race. All these niggas fake, all these bitches snake, all they want is cake. That's why I stay away, and I'm trying to run it up, just get rich with me. Yo, bitch wanna fuck, I told her wait a minute, nigga. Dog up in my cup, that shit got me up. Chillin' with the gang, come out you can't hang. What the fucking system? Bring some niggas, ayy. Yeah, I'm on the left, yeah, I'm high as fuck. Dog up in my cup, that shit got me up. Chillin' with my gang, come out you can't hang. What the fucking system? Bring some niggas, ayy. Bring my niggas, ayy. So man, I'm some screw. Bring bitches at two. She put me in my boots. And made her cook. Made it through the crew. She do what she do. Then she get the boot.
poisoning up your brain. The weed is on fire, the blunt is getting hot. This our desire and we don't want it to stop. So we drop 2 more grams cause we wanna get down. You gotta watch what you say with all these cops up in this town. They always taking our stuff, but never knew we found out. Yeah, we riding in your crib, up windows up, full of vandals. Get this perk, put the work to find the time to come and save us. Cause I'm feeling like a slave. Worse sex is contagious. Be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Don't be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Don't be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Don't be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Mr. Rasta, I'm not the imposter. I'm the one who's gonna grow you like ganja. Rasta, man, please let me be. Get me away from all these strangers, that's a danger to me. Mr. Rasta, I'm not your imposter. I'm the one who's gonna smoke all that ganja. Rasta, man, please let me be. Get me away from all these strangers, that's a danger to me. Cause it's all around us, there is nothing you can say that's gonna change these minds in these next few days. We're gonna smoke it all up in a pipe or in a blunt. Cause our souls are getting ready and our minds made up. And so we take it to this edge and we chopped it with our hands. Already conquered 2 mountains that was littered with the sand. And I still don't understand why we live with all the strife. Cause the daily occurrence, so I try to mind the shiesty. Individuals coming our way. What you think we working free? Like some motherfucking slaves. Not as Mr. Rasta, man. All we want is handfuls of ganja. Maybe a brew just to set things poppin'. In the city they were calling us doctors. Ain't nothing can stop us. Sign this petition if you know what you missing. Cuban beat with skunk funk, and you know when you listen. Yeah, Jock ain't the bless, and you know we smoking for sure. We fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Don't be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Don't be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. Don't be fooled by the illusion, freedom illusion, poisoning up your brain. There you go. Some flowers. I need to roll one up. Right. Introducing my homies, the Skunk Funk crew. We got Cuban B, lacing them hip-hopping, cultivational rhymes, elevating your mind. We got Max G, pulling the strings, always making that guitar scream. You know we got Witty, knocking
on the drums, breaking it down real funky. Blast up the back, Bobo, dabbing on the bass, giving them a taste of that skunk sound. Yo, I heard they got skunk funk on possession for sale, cause the music's so dope it gets played on a scale. Representing positive music and they rebel. Fight against the rollers who want us locked in a cell. Ska punk, rockin' dope, talking dank growers. Freedom fighting, funkin' it up, the skunk soldiers. Taking over, keeping the underground to the fullest. Music is the weapon, they shooting lyrical bullets. Skunk funk, my homies, always keeping it funky. Cuban beat. Bleezy up in here, this whole beat. Skunk funk. Possession for sale. Possession for sale. Yes, got that dope. Possession for sale. Hey, y'all ready to smoke? That's that skunk funk.
Dedicated to my best friend, yeah, my lover and my best friend. I love you, best friend. Hey, black milk on the beat. Yeah, she stood about 5'6" with some nice size tits. Pretty SLs make a nigga bust quick. She only gets submissive when I'm giving her the dick. Any other time she bossy playing hard to get. We were friends before lovers, that's some real nigga shit. We both have a past and we recognize this. We don't put a title on our relationship. She lets me do me and I appreciate this. She's my best friend. Sometimes I wish she was my girlfriend. I want her all to myself, fuck her X-Men. I know better than to let my feelings get in the way of our friendship, that will be a sin. But it's hard because she's beautiful and hella cool. She's really smart, like the same things that I do. Now I'm confused and don't know what to do. I'm getting mad when she tell me she talk to other dudes. We argue on the phone, she hang up in my face. I'm feeling bad cause we ain't talked in a couple days. I text good morning love, she replies good morning babe. I text back I apologize, she texts back it's okay. We back talking again, I'm having better days. I got it bad, call me Usher Ray. I love my best friend, I love her even when she tell me that she don't want to be more than just friends. Cause even though I want her as my girlfriend, my heart knows that it's best she be my best friend. I love you, best friend. Black milk on the beat.
Elephants sent back to Africa from all the zoos. The D-boy stopped giving his mama the blues. The night creeping prostitute finally gets a clue. Riders get riders rock and I become amused. Miracles performed, skeptics are made believers. You may be like Doubting Thomas, but you can't deceive us. Worldly things is worthless, love is worth more than gold. You need to get up to see what your future holds. Just get better and stronger and grow and grow. Do what you know to be right, don't do what you're told. Get better and stronger and grow and grow. All you got is right now, so you need to be bold. The followers make a path to lead their own way. The speakers will then listen to what you have to say. Illness gets a cure, insomniacs get sleep. But this is just the beginning, the story gets deeper. The racist, the sexist, the biased, homophobic. Get compassion and they start to show it so they know it. The keepers of themselves is now their brother's keeper. But this is just the beginning, the story gets deeper. But this is just the beginning, the story gets deeper.
That's California. I rep the Bay Life. We be bending corners. I'm with the hustlers that'll run up on you. Ain't with the fuck shit, nigga, you don't wanna. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. I go hard, nigga, fuck with me. Got it on lock, swear the glove in me. Pockets on swole with a bankroll. Bam fam in control, so we in the zone. Moving fast pace, my niggas love me. With the world in my hands, my nigga is none. Never fuck with fake hoes, my nigga they fun. They try to set us all up, they come up as dumb. I treat these hoes like a trash can. Rap and throw them out like they last man. No love lost here, I'm a bad man. Villain of the year, you understand? I'm from the city, that's California. I rap the Bay Life. We be bending corners. I'm with the hustlers that'll run up on you. Ain't with the fuck shit, nigga, you don't wanna.
Hey, fuck a glass. I put the whole bottle on her booty. Jack Daniels and I 2 liter coke on her booty. Smoke on her booty, some weed on her booty. Freak on her booty, skeet on her booty. Hey, I might even eat on her booty. Something like a sweet tasty treat on her booty. No, she's not a cutie, but it really don't matter, cause she got a big heart and her booty's even fatter.
On my booty, why? Take a look at my beauty. You all on my ass, dusty ass nigga, I'll pass. Why your bitch staring? I ain't even caring. Hating on the shit Miss Diamond be wearing. You can hate me, can't imitate me. Your bitch is talking shit for the purpose to degrade me. Cause I'm a boss, cause you a boss. Step aside, bitch, so I can floss. Cause I'm a boss, bitch, and I can talk shit. So I want that broke ass nigga that you came with.
It all started back in '74, and I was raised by a family of 4. Me, moms and pops and big bro, and I was raised on the west side. Oh, back then it wasn't no YouTube. We got our news from the local Tribune. These dudes hung out all night, right around the corner, and we all start fights. Mojo and Big Bro in the back with the red light special, yeah, you all know that. Plenty wise words spoken to us. We make it downtown on the back of the bus. Yeah. And Augustine was 501 and the Leathermans. Back then it was mobsters and veterans. Go ahead and ask Broadway Slim. Putting licks on them tricks, living trims. We talking matinee, Roxy's and Lux, hopping pistols, hitting flips and doing jumps. And we ain't worried about a damn thing. We knuckle up, ain't no need for the bang bang. No gangs, just turfs. You want funk, we leave your shoulder than a smurf. Joy and pain came straight from Maze. And man, I tell you, it ain't nothing like the good days. 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 It's been the virgins while we're rocking out the house party. It ain't nothing like the good days. It ain't nothing like the good days. It ain't nothing like the good days. It's in the verses while we rocking out the house parties.
5-finger discounts in the crossfade. When you're homeless, crack house was like a luxury. Resting well, rats up in the wall, don't even bother me. Pops is smoking brandy, so it's hard for him to bother me. The Marco asked if I'ma die with it. I told him probably. Brush shit, he said that shit don't kill me. No fake love for me, coming for him. No one is a dip when it's a woman's sworn. Finally satisfied with the satisfaction of moving forward. And also I was hungry, I eat these beats, now I'm kinda sore. I predict the future, a dream deferred, that's the portal. Y'all shake the shit like I shake these haters. 2 fingers to the sky, see you later. I'm chasing paper, that's word to money. I can't stand up phony niggas, word to my environment. 1 finger to the dome, these niggas, partially a requirement. Damn, I remember on 33, see, they used to tease me with problems up on my feet. Now I'm making shit look easy. Take the 82 well, smoking, enjoy the steam. From the A-State to the East, is where we go to kick it. Word to High Street and not for distance. Playing hide and seek, or I go get it with the chickens. Whichever, whenever, we fell for the weather, the mood was set right. Just a couple kids on some road to play BMX fight. Chilling with the homies in the backyard having water fights. No, it wasn't easy, but I swear it was a good life.
It ain't nothing like the good days. It ain't nothing like the good days. It ain't nothing like the good days. It's in the verse while we're rocking out the house parties. It ain't nothing like the good days. It ain't nothing like the good days. It ain't nothing like the good days. It's in the verse while we're rocking out the house parties.
Nigga, hey, get your mind right. Ain't no fruit, ain't no UV, it's just the limelight.
These niggas hate me who too love me cause I rhyme tight. And I ain't finna write a hook, a bitch in my life. And all they chillin' with the pick will get you sidetracked. I see you building, but be careful for the climax. We had some jumpers, ain't no telling who gon' try next. These niggas trippin', we gon' mix them like the Pyrex. When I was stunting on you niggas, it was slight work. You talked about me like you niggas had knew all about me. And niggas swore he had some partners, they was all around me. But I was reaching, man, that's just the way the mind work. When I was stunting on you niggas, it was slight work. I put your girlie in some loafers in a tight shirt. You working day shifts, you giving me that night work. A lot of niggas hit me now, I just be like, work. When I was stunting on you niggas, it was slight work. I might work twice as hard, just to show them niggas that they never was who we are. Back with cigars and Belvedere, no disregard. I've been with the bars, I'm right next to the Ritalin pot. I'm doper than y'all. Matter of fact, I'm dope as them all. I can take my old bars and start quoting them off. I'm never impressed, and I understand the need to evolve. If you think I changed, I did, and I still flame the blick. Mac truck, make you pick lanes and stick. Big chains and sticks, I'm still lame and lick. Look. Done with the liquor and love ballads, insecurities, missed opportunities, steam challenges, sadomasochist preach to the masses posing as apathists, actual characters playing out a fictional narrative. Love is something you teach, hate is something inherited. I really never gave him my all. Yes, I'm arrogant. I really gave my brother them bitches because of my hesitance. I'm really fucked, so I'm really numb to embarrassment. I really gave a fuck, maybe two, and you made a mess of it. I'm really having fun with a blunt, deleting your messages like, pull up in the hood, check my references. I be a big bro, start respecting it. You can question my actions, never my penmanship. You can question my methods, but my intent is stiff. You think you special, don't you, nigga? You weren't special until after we put pressure on you, nigga. Showed you up and made you feel you had to flex up on a nigga. Now you rapping twice as hard and have as many people feel it, nigga. Like lick to the Q, I come with it. Me and Q be the P, what's up with it? I chill with the rap cause I'm done with it. Feel how you wanna feel, take it and run with it, nigga. Now for real, dead for real. Fuck niggas. Feel how you wanna feel, nigga. Really
Look, okay, mama, here goes some game. You say, boy, please don't bother me. Well, at least tell me your name. You look just like a dime, but that's really for them lames. Cause listen, you a dollar, now let me break off some change. Dang, switching positions, girl, listen, I know you need that. Cold shoulders don't affect me, I can offer to eat that. Hold up, you trying to do what? Baby, where? Can you repeat that? Damn, I really hope you do something to phone your recaps. Listen, just relax, I'm trying to ease your mind. Work my way in your soul and tingle down to your spine. Say that you never felt this way, baby, let me inside. I promise to make you feel just like everything back tonight. You said you want a real one, well, I'm about that. And if you need someone to kick it with, mommy, you found that. Ha, I like the way you toast, girl, do a climax, and I'ma put it down like a line back. Hey ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. Hey, ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. March 14th is a calendar date when real men celebrate second blowjob day. The day your women give you head all during the day and chew a steak on the grill. Second blowjob day. Hey, ladies, it's a holiday. Wake up your man with your mouth. Second blowjob day. Give me a sloppy BJ to start the day. I like them both real. Second blowjob day. Hey, everybody, it's a holiday. Jawbone with T-bone. Second blowjob day. Spitters and critters, so the ladies gotta swallow today. She cooking clean the second blowjob day. Hey, ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. Hey, ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. Hey.
Yeah. Look, man, What's so special about these niggas? I'm really out here chilling, ain't no pressure at these niggas. I'm trying to get a check, ain't feel no pressure about these women. I'm lining up with them, but you can tell I'm highly different, man. It's less effort and more direction, more reflection, introspection, and self-checking. I'm being gave up on that saving the world message. It's great to theorize, but reality's more objective than that. I want to start trapping and get my regulars back. But lately I'm feeling like I'm just better than that. I took a step back away from the medicine cabinet. I took a step back from niggas that used to be family. And I ain't finna lie to you, baby. I'ma lose you if I show this other side to you, baby. I'ma jug and I'ma throw this to the side for you, baby. If it's good, I'ma pull up, I'ma slide on you, baby. If I lose you, then it's Gucci, should I try it for you, baby? I ain't chasing, I ain't finna hurt my side for you, baby. And lately you can see it in my eyes. I ain't gravy shit, I'm trying to get this paper on my niggas gon' relate it like you know, it's big,
Don't mash up the music, no, Mr. Mo. Don't mash up the music, under this loincloth commando, humanoid, going Neando. I couldn't play guitar or piano. I could strum with the harp or the banjo. Bring some to the cats like I'm Panthro. Turn my jeans into hammer pants on the dance floor. I need wiggle room, can't stand still. Staying light as a feather, dropping anvils. Waxing intellectuals, you can't hold a candle. It's what we got, truth you can't handle. Go ahead and get some coffee out the can, bro. But if you can't stop lying, you can't chill. Listen to me talking shit like an asshole. Insecure MCs mad like they get no recognition in my shadow. Things need to be addressed a little past dough. Been doing it for what? Brand new vision in the impeccable strut. I'm everywhere with no real once. Real cats get it, but it's no fair chance. Check what's under the hood, 100 pistons. Underrated and misunderstood like Sonny Liston. Crabs in the barrel, fucking up the mission. Good to be smart, more important that you get it. They'll try to take what's yours, but don't let them. They don't understand the whole spectrum. BPMs in the 80s like Max Headroom. Speeding it up for this one for 97. I'd like to give a shout to both Kevins. They know where they are. Skate on thick ice and old Chevy. Steve's in the house yelling, making beats, boiling eggs so we can devil them. But y'all on that devil shit, we're angels for all time when time is irrelevant. Picking up what I'm putting down and smelling it. In the woods, chilling with wolves and elephants. Been doing it for what? Brand new mission in the impeccable strut. Everywhere with no voice. Blue cats get it, but it's no fair to choose. Scars to the stripes and hard tissues. Let your guard down if no one's sparring with you. I treat my friends' sons like my nephews, but then I get to get retarded and let loose. But it ain't the B-boy New Jack swing, even though it ain't a New Jack thing. Fools yelling at my homie saying, do that thing. Trying to pull us in the circus, we don't do that game. Already past that, don't gotta prove our strength. Style undeniable, bring it back like a boomerang. DJ Sikorsky, my right-hand man. Digging wax platters out like an old mining can. Final culture, made the movement gamble. Swimming in the sea of beat breaks and dope samples. Y'all forgot what hip-hop sounds like. We're here to remind you and make shit sound tight. Put down the mic, step away from the booth. Never let pride get in the way of the truth. Been doing it for what? Brand new vision in the impeccable strut. I'm everywhere with no real ones. Blue cats hit it, but it's no fair insurance. Been doing it for what? Brand new vision in the impeccable strut. I'm everywhere with no real ones. Blue cats hit it, but it's no fair insurance.
Shout out to Mike Fish, Thug Nasty, Jay Fetty, Adrian H. Scott. Man, we got down, man. This is Anna's Global Radio. Anna, you in the building?
Sure am.
All right.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? What's up?
That was some good music.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So, woo, heat wave here. Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, it's bad. Yeah, I'm feeling it right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got a fan going, but
oh, just so everybody knows, if they do rolling blackouts and the power just goes off and the show goes off, thank you guys for watching.
Yes.
But hopefully we'll be able to stand until 10.
Yeah. I was wondering about that, but Hey, if it happens, it happens. Gave me a good excuse not to do laundry until later. But yeah, I was wondering about, because you got a bunch of electronic stuff going, but
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Once it's if it shuts off, that's it.
yep. So it goes, like they say. So yes, we missed a week. So a lot's been happening.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I'm sure everybody will be very happy to know that I've got the possum infestation under control.
Woo, her and the possums.
Yes. Yeah. No more.
Whoa.
It was just crazy because I had the problem with this cat door that wouldn't shut securely. So they would just come in. It was horrible. And yeah, so as I've said, fortunately, my landlady loves cats. So she always understands when I want some weird thing because of the cats. So my neighbor came down. I got a new cat door that shuts more securely. It also keeps out, because the possums were coming in because the cat door would just like stay open when the cats went through. But even I don't think they really understood like getting in through the closed cat door. Maybe they figured it out. But now I have a cat door that I can program to only respond to my cat's microchips. So I'm having a hard time getting it to work, but I will. And meanwhile, it shuts securely. So yes, the possums are not coming in. And it was all, I don't know, man. I feel like I've just had a crazy couple of weeks with nature. I don't know if it was connected or not, but my cat Roman was attacked by a raccoon and I had to put him down.
Wow.
Terrible. Yeah. He had this, right, because that was all mixed in with the cat door not working right. I was looking through, I couldn't get out my back door because the house is like falling apart and it's like kind of wedged. I can't open it, man. I mean, I like put my neighbor could open it with a lot of effort, basically. So I had to go all the way around the block and use a key to get in through this other door to get to Roman and my cat. And he was just out there. I thought he was sleeping or something. And then I saw, because cats get abscesses a lot. And so I was looking at the window and I saw this wound. And then I was like, oh my God, that's huge. And I went out, he'd like been torn up. His intestines were spilling out. It was horrible. But there was blood in the house, but he hadn't made a noise, which is driving me crazy. It was like he'd been in the house dragging himself around, but hadn't woken me up. And it wasn't that he couldn't make a noise, because when I picked him up by the scruff to put him in the carrier to take him to the vet, and he hissed. So I was thinking like, whoa, he's mad. That's a good sign. He was meowing in the car, but I took him to the vet.
Probably just because he's in pain.
Yeah. You just would think an animal would be like meowing with pain or something. I mean, they certainly, but yeah, I mean, and since that's just what was so weird, because he was meowing in the car, just a regular meow, because I mean, cats hate the car. And I was thinking like, well, he sounds. So I took him to one vet and they said that it was so severe that he would need specialist surgery. So I took him to a different vet and they took him in and took an x-ray and were just like, you need to put him down. So yeah, I'd only had him for a year. But he's the one that just kind of moved himself in. And so I miss him, but stuff has definitely chilled out around here because he's the one. You'll notice the show is probably going to be quieter because the noise that would be happening would be the boy cats starting to get into it. because like I wouldn't have brought another male cat into the house if I was getting another cat because Logue is territorial, but Roman moved himself in and then they would be fighting. So that was actually the noise. Most of the time, the noise and the disruptions would be those guys fighting. So yes, but he was a character. I never had a cat die young like that. When the vet told me that it was time that I had to put him down, and part of me was just thinking like, but I've had so little time with him. But I've had outdoor cats, indoor, outdoor cats my whole life. I've never had something like this happen before. I've had cats get chomped from fights with other cats, but not like this. I've never had an animal get hit by a car. So I am still for letting animals go outside. I mean, Roman was just adventurous. I mean, he was having some sort of conflict. I would hear this, he would like perk up and go running outside, and he had his freedom. So, but yeah, so hopefully everything's chilled out around here on the animal front. So, yeah. Okay, so other parts of the world, of course, are reporting about the student loan debt relief, which we've been talking about. And so they always try and get people sounding kind of dumb, Americans. Because here's a quote I read in one of the British journals. They talked to a guy who was 24. He graduated from college, and his loans weren't even that bad, but then he took an accelerated program, like master's degree for 1 year, which cost $60,000. And so the guy said, I suddenly went from potentially payable amount to an exorbitant amount of debt. No, you didn't suddenly go. You took out a loan, you took out loans for $60,000 for a year. And that's crazy.
Yeah, that's super crazy.
That's super crazy. Yeah. If some program is that, there's like, get a fucking scholar. Yeah. Nothing is good. Like, how the fuck do you think that is gonna pay back for you? So I was like, okay, of course they interviewed this guy instead of other people that took out loans and in just more normal circumstances. And the New York Times was also covering the question of whether people that didn't graduate can get the assistance. And I'm just like, that is, I almost can't even fathom that could not be the case, since so many people, the reason so many people don't finish their degrees is because they can't afford it. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons. So yeah, so we're following that. There's a lot of like different stories coming up, different opinions. How much people are like, oh, it's going to cost the average taxpayer, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, whatever. We pay we pay taxes. Like, if the United States were like other countries, we would be paying more taxes to fund education. So, I mean, community colleges should be, I don't know, man. I mean, community colleges should be free, or they should just, I don't know, like psychologically, I think it doesn't make sense to like tack it on to make, I mean, people would just go crazy if school was 14 years instead of 12. But okay. The state of Ohio is just executed somebody. They are intending to execute over the next 2 years, they want to execute 25 people, men. So that's 2 a month, basically. So, you know, when stuff like that happens, it means that they might think that the government is going to switch over or something. They want to, well, you know, I mean, the same way everybody was trying to get in lots of executions before Trump left office. So Serbia and Kosovo have settled an ethnic dispute over the movement of citizens across their border. Serbia and Kosovo used to be part of the same country. Well, they used to be part of the same country, Yugoslavia, before they were their own country. I mean, you know, they were their own countries, then they were part of Yugoslavia, and now they're their own countries again. And so, yeah, so like now people are going to be able to freely cross those borders. Italy had essentially guarantees citizenship eligibility to anyone who can prove themselves to be a direct descendant of an Italian citizen. So I cannot even fathom how wrong that is, since the former, you know, they won't let in immigrants from countries that they colonized. However, if you have some great nanny back there, you can become a citizen. And they're the ones that are complaining about not you know, because they want to like pump up their birth rate, but they only want to pump up their birth rate with certain people. So yeah, we have a video in the YouTube that shows something kind of telling.
Do you want to go into the video?
No, not yet.
Okay.
COVID-19 stats. And now you can
Okay, the 27 artifacts have been seized from the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And so that is cool, because it's one thing to seize items from private collectors, and it's the district attorney of the state of New York that's doing this. I mean, seizing stuff from museums is different. That just is going to come across real differently to people, because you sort of think of museums as being kind of sacrosanct, but they aren't. They steal stuff too. In Texas, 8 migrants drowned and 37 others were rescued as they tried to cross the Rio Grande, and it so happened. And then farmers are trying to get immigration reform to ease labor shortages and lower food prices, and there's a bill for that in Congress. I mean, that's just I don't know, man. I mean, that's just an area that it's not really a good deal. Just a good deal for anyone, but you know, we have global food shortages and inflation, and it's just crazy. So yeah, Great Britain has a new prime minister, and one I would like, okay, we're having a cost of living crisis. People's electricity bills in England have quadrupled.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why is that?
I don't know. I think because of the Ukrainian war, the war in Ukraine, that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, I should figure that out. But that, you know, with Ukraine cutting off with the pipelines being cut off because of the war in Ukraine. But I am also not totally sure how that all works, but yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Great Britain has a new prime minister named Liz Truss. They had this bombastic guy that Trump liked a lot, named Boris Johnson, for 3 years. And see, I always feel so okay. See, I heard from an English friend of mine today who was talking about it, and I see they have parliament, so the parliament can, if they make a vote of no confidence in the prime minister, they get to vote for somebody else. So there was a so they've been having an election, but it's only parliament that gets to vote. So that's kind of strange. I mean, they have a new prime minister, but she wasn't elected by the popular vote by people. So I don't know, man. I mean, my dad is always going like, well, what don't you understand? I mean, the parliamentary system is just so bad, because sometimes it seems like you have, I mean, I like that you can get rid of, well, I mean, then it can be sort of crazy. Then there's countries where people get a new prime minister once a year or a couple a year. And so that's not good either. And if it's just the people in power voting for them, that's not really fair either. But I mean, apparently she wants to address the cost of living crisis. She's the third prime minister that Great Britain has had. So they're ahead of the United States as far as all that goes. So last week I was at a event, a forum for Vallejo City Council, and they split it because now there's districts, because it used to be that you would vote for candidates in this, like you could vote, candidates would run like citywide, and now they have districts. So I mean, like I didn't get to vote for any city candidates 2 years ago because they weren't running in my district. So now I think you and me are in the same district. We live pretty close. So there's 3 district races going on. And so they had 3 separate forums, and they made it more of a discussion, which is good, because a lot of the time in these events, they'll ask a question, it'll be the same question, and it just goes down the line. So everybody, people can like steal questions from each other. But so the people in the first group, I mean, a couple of them are friends of mine, and I just felt like they were all really respectful to each other, and that was just so nice to see. And then so that was just District 2, and a couple of them are friends of mine, and the other one, I mean, and then District 5, a couple more friends of mine are running in that district. And so if I were in that district, I would have I mean, I know who I would pick, but there's a couple people I think would do a good job. However, in that district, District 4, which is our district, has people that don't know what they are doing. And it's really fucking annoying. Before all this started, I was asking my landlady if she could I was like, okay, well, what if we get somebody to like give my address as a fake address, and you can say you've been renting to them. This one guy, they just were getting so diverted, and they were talking about activities for kids. And so this one guy that was like totally out was like, oh well, why can't they do the John F. Kennedy fitness program? And the friend I was sitting with is like, he's close to 70. He was like, That was around when I was a kid. So, and then they get, one of them was talking about legislation and all of that, you know, because people will start talking about the problems with cops in Vallejo, and he's like, well, you know, and then what we need to do is go after the police officers Bill of Rights. Like, yeah, okay, a city council member from Vallejo just has so much impact over that. It's like, yes, that's the problem, but there's nothing that they can, you know, I mean, that is a statewide thing and a national thing. And so people are trying to figure out how to improve the policing in Vallejo in the first place. And then, you know, because the problems people are having is police brutality, but police brutality has gone down under Chief Shawnee Williams. There has not been a cop killing since he began. There was one cop killing. There was a young man that was killed like when Shawnee had been in the job for like a month. And other than that, there hasn't been any killing since he's been here. So, and there's members of the sisters of Sean Monterosa, the young man that was killed at the beginning of the George Floyd riots, have met with Shawnee, and they think he's a good guy. And so, like, okay, so do other relatives, so do other families that have been impacted by police violence. So there's that problem in Vallejo. But then there's a whole lot of people that are really upset about sideshows and catalytic converters and getting ripped off and muggings and all of that. There's like a lot of people want more cops. I mean, you know, they want cops that don't brutalize people, but yeah, people want to be able, there's just so many cases where people will be calling cops for a situation where they need them and they don't show up, or they can't show up. So that's one of the things they're trying to figure out in Vallejo. And other than that, so yeah, that's what I was doing. That I'm gonna vote for somebody who is kind of a blank slate, because some people I know think that I don't know, he's sort of like the least offensive, and like people think that a couple people I know who really follow all this stuff like him, because they think he's like sort of a good mentor, you know, that. But yeah, District 4 is not in good shape. Really sucks. Yeah, and then there was another meeting. Oh yeah, that was last weekend, about the reparations project in Vallejo that I went to, and it's at there's a shoe store on Georgia Street, and Dr. Kirby, it's run by the mother of Dr. Kirby Lynch, who's running the survey and of African American residents of Vallejo. And she's actually managed to get a meeting with the city, which is really hard, because the fucking city, I hate this sort of shit. The city was talking about hiring a consultant to do an equity study. Yeah. I mean, stuff like that just makes me so mad. I mean, because that's just like, okay, wait, you're paying all this money for somebody to tell you that there's inequity. Like, fuck that. And spend some of that money. Anybody can tell you that. So Kirby was having, so different people were getting up and talking about ways that iniquity has impacted their lives, and that was recorded. And I'm real excited because it was sent to the Bunch Center, which is at UCLA. That's the Dr. Ralph Johnson Bunch Center. Because I've talked about Ralph Bunch before. He's another one of the people I'm really interested in. He was a scholar and diplomat. He worked at the United Nations, and he also did really important really important research, and he was part of the labor movement, basically part of everything. I did an event. I did a Ralph Bunch event in 2019, and I did it with I got a guest speaker who no longer lives here, and he was somebody that was well known enough to bring in people, because I can get a crowd for Bayard. I can bring in people for Bayard Rustin, but Ralph Bunch is just too obscure. Not enough people know who he is to pull off an event. So I'm really hoping to work with Dr. Kirby, to do a Ralph Bunch later in the year. However, she's going to keynote the next Bayard Rustin symposium. God, everything happens so fucking fast. And then we have a meeting to discuss doing an event about a reparations event at the Naval Historical Museum in February. So that'll be really cool, because when you're at the museum just has a built-in audience, because when every event there will go out on their emails, it will be on their publicity, the flyers will be up. So I mean, the word has got to get out to more people, and more white people need to understand reparations. And I mean, people need to ask questions.
Right.
So yeah, so that'll be a good way to bridge some of those divides, I think. And and yeah, so that will be in February. But I'm really, this is connected with the statewide reparations task force, and then the information is being compiled at the Ralph Bunch Center. So it's great that Ralph Bunch is getting this extra level of attention, and that hopefully more people will learn who he was through this project. And that and Kirby's been answering more questions about the project. Like, yeah, I mean, whomever is talking about paying some fucking company to do an equity study, they should pay her. She has a doctorate. She's really personally committed to this, and that's who she has both the skill set and the passion to do things like this. So, I mean, I would love to see Vallejo get more attention for, for politics, for issues. And so, yeah, so I'm just trying to contribute. I got my friend, I got a friend of mine to do this study. So yeah. So you want to watch some of those videos?
Let's rock and roll.
Okay.
We're gonna start with the first one.
Sure.
Oops.
We're going to be talking about Mikhail Gorbachev, everybody.
Michael's routine was to go to Dr. Klein's office and get high on Demerol for hours at a time. Dr. Klein was more than happy to oblige, and he justified
Selling your house the traditional way can be tricky, especially when your house needs some work. Repairs, cleaning, showing.
Mikhail Gorbachev changed the course of 20th century history. His legacy, though, is valued more by some than by others. In the West, he's revered as a great statesman, a Nobel Peace Prize winner who played a decisive role in ending the Cold War. To many Russians, he's the man who allowed the Soviet empire to collapse, exposing millions to hardship and humiliation.
His legacy is that he allowed for the peaceful collapse of the Soviet Union. He did not use massive force to keep Eastern Europe in the empire, and for that he deserves credit. But it is not that this was someone who came in trying to undermine the system. He tried to reform it.
As a young man, Gorbachev studied law at Moscow State University. He went on to forge a career in the Communist Party, eventually becoming its general secretary and leader of the Soviet Union. But the command economy Gorbachev inherited was failing, and there were shortages of food and consumer goods. Gorbachev tried to fix things with glasnost and perestroika, reforms that were to revolutionize the Soviet system.
We need more enterprise, more democracy, more organization and more discipline. Then we will be able to bring perestroika up to full speed and give new impetus to developing socialism.
His leadership also led to a revolution in relations with the West. Face to face with US President Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev signed a treaty eliminating an entire class of nuclear weapons, curbing the nuclear arms race. It was the beginning of the end of the Cold War. Soon the Berlin Wall fell, and after a failed coup by hardliners in Moscow, the Soviet Union itself was dissolved and Gorbachev resigned.
In this situation which follows the establishment of the Commonwealth of Independent States, I hereby cease to act as the President of the Soviet Union.
Awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1990, Gorbachev remained in the public eye, watching democratic progress erode and relations with the West deteriorate.
Well, right now, the present Russian Tsar, Vladimir Putin, is trying with military force to rebuild the Soviet Union, to reintegrate it through forceful means, kind of undo the Gorbachev legacy.
Mikhail Gorbachev.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the world's lost a towering global leader. Russian President Vladimir Putin has expressed his deepest condolences. Gorbachev, with his famous crimson birthmark, was one of the most recognizable figures of 20th century politics and one of its most influential.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, let's pause it for a minute. Yeah. I was looking because I was trying to find something we could watch that summed it up, I guess, and that had some good footage and wasn't too long. So, comment? Wow.
Oh no, that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. I mean, that's but you know what I'm saying? The ones that seem to make a change seem to be the ones that, that can make a good change, seem to be the ones that go. It's just like that.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's, he lived, we have there's another video on this list that I have that is to show people coming to his funeral. I mean, I remember when this was happening, and at the time, I mean, it was so different back then without the internet, because I didn't watch TV. I didn't have a TV. So I don't know how the hell I found out about anything. Somehow I did, but that's partially why I'm interested in things from that era, because I was old enough to kind of know what was going on, but I didn't really, I read the paper, I guess, back when you used to do that. so, I mean, when I was a kid, I guess because the stories that my grandmother would read to me when I was a kid were by Russian authors and, well, people from that part of the world. And it was, so they had those stories would, I don't know, the peasants would be going to Lithuania or something, but then that was all gone with the Soviet Union. And so I was just kind of, it was just something I heard about as a kid, as a kid. And after one of my aunts or cousins or something, and I mean, and she told me the story, like, you know, I mean, it was only like 20, I mean, I was like an adult by then. She said that because people call Russia the old country. That's what people say, like, oh, I'm going back to the old country. In the old country we did this, and that's talking about, that's Eastern Europe. So she told us this story that after, like during World War II, you couldn't call anybody, and after the war, her mother called the family back at home, and the relative back in the old country said, don't ever call here again, because it was so scary, because it was dangerous for them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there were just relatives and people that were just a lot of, you know, I mean, people that were just gone, people that just disappeared. So it's also really interesting to remember that fucking Reagan was a Republican, and like, oh my, I mean, it was so different back then. I mean, nuclear disarmament from a Republican. So I don't know. I mean, Reagan's real interesting historically because, you know, he has blood on his hand. I mean, he did some real bad stuff and he did some good stuff too. And I think now everybody kind of he died in oh God, well, it was a while ago. I think it was like 20 in he died in 2004, and I remember that because John Kerry was running for president, and so I remember footage of Kerry going to the Reagan Library to pay respects.
I personally think with politics, I mean, especially being a president, you don't have a choice, man. It's like, I think you're going to do some stuff bad no matter what.
Yeah.
Everybody complains, but when it comes down to it, you know, I don't think there's just no way to be completely right on anything. And, you know, it's just, there's no way.
I agree. And that's part of that's why people like Burn Dog have it so easy, because Burn Dog can always sound good because he doesn't have any responsibility.
Yeah, it's easy now, but
exactly.
I always know as soon as if he was to become president,
exactly,
there's gonna be stuff that he's gonna do or people are gonna not like, and it's like that with every president. So that is why I can't stand Burn Dog, because, you know, he just holds himself up to be so high, whereas when you're in an actual position of power, you're just not going to be able to please everybody. And but you know, let's look at it. All presidents are like that before they become president.
Not like Burn Dog.
I think they all do it. They all come off like that.
They don't talk about fucking Medicare for all. They don't talk about things that can't happen and that are mathematically.
Some of them all float some kind of. They spit some kind of line to everybody that
not like Burn Dog.
I don't know, man. They all kind of do it.
They didn't talk about wiping out student debt like Burn Dog did, and stuff that cannot happen. Stuff that was just, they did not talk about stuff that was mathematically impossible like Burn Dog did. And they had, well, you know, anyway, fucking.
They all to me have said, they all try to say they can do this, they can do that, they can make Medicare cheaper, they can do this and all
Well, they
this.
can't make it cheaper. Just can't make it for everybody.
I know, but that's they always, it's like this, to me, it's always the same thing. They always say it, but I don't know. To me, it's really not much of a difference. Maybe Burn Dog, maybe he does a little more theatrics with it. But when it comes down to it, they all done said their stuff.
I mean, and Burn Dog never got any bills passed. I mean, somebody like Biden, you could look at his legislative record and things he worked on and was involved with. Burn Dog didn't get anything passed. So
I don't know, man. Trump was president too, so I don't know. Like I said, to me, they all have good and bad to them. So,
well, they do. And you know, when you know, I mean, that's why I was so annoyed with you know, one of the city council candidates was, you know, he kept he was like, oh, then there's this, and people are like cheering because, oh, I hate that shit, because he was talking about how bad something is. Like, yeah, we fucking know that, okay. And then Cassandra, who's running in the district, has really pertinent. I wish she was in our district so I could vote for her. Something or other came up about housing, and people were talking about, oh, there should be this, there should be that, and she said there is this program and it does this, and went into this explanation of a program, and you know, that sort of stuff is complicated, and she just gave a really good explanation of it. And you know, that is the sort of person I want in leadership. So okay, let's watch the next video.
All right.
Almost give you a family history of who you were and what diseases were in the family and stuff like that.
When I started my business in 2011, I chose Wix, and it was really because the
Oh, wow.
Eu não sei o que nós faremos com o agronegócio geral do Brasil. Teremos aumento da inflação, escassez de alimentos, fazendas sendo simplesmente destruídas por reservas, ou outras por serem deslindadas por reservas, não poderão mais ser produtivas.
Toda a história indigenista desses últimos 50 e poucos anos que eu tenho participado, eu nunca vi nada pior do que esse governo. O governo Bolsonaro tem se mostrado absolutamente contrário aos povos indígenas.
Para mim, é um ato lindo de resistência contra esse governo miserável que quer acabar com os direitos dos povos indígenas, com o marco temporal e a PL 191, que dá direito aos garimpos em territórios indígenas.
Oh, man.
Yeah, wasn't that intense? I was reading about that guy.
That was crazy.
Okay, so this is about yeah, isn't that crazy? I mean,
Yeah, that's super crazy.
yeah, yeah. I mean that is just, that guy just lived on his own for 30 years.
That is just something, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated. Yes, this whole field of study, uncontacted tribes. I just find that so interesting that there's people that specialize in uncontacted tribes. It's sort of amazing that you can get like a whole like doctorate or whatever, that your whole job and can be researching people without ever meeting them or talking to them or anything. So yeah. I mean, it's amazing that there's still uncontacted people, but then, I mean, people with modern, you know, and then you just, there's so much money from outside the country contributing to those economic interests. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. Did you see that though? 800 different tribes.
Yeah.
The groups of people, man. That's crazy that they still exist like that.
I know, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with their own, and that's what, you know, and I think with their own languages. I mean, I don't know if each tribe has their own language, but that's just amazing to me how many languages there are in the world.
And there were a lot of doctors out there with the same.
Okay, so the next video is about a stand-up comic.
Same thing.
It's narcissism. It's gratifying to have a special person under your care and that person to then be satisfied.
الصورة الأخيرة قبل ما أموت، الصورة الأخيرة هاي الصورة الأخيرة.
بس ما ناسكمش يعني بتخش من راشد اكيد طبعا. هذا كيف
السلام عليكم.
وصل بالحوض وتفتح لي مكة نفتح عندك.
على العموم انا في الاربع شوارع، حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. تمام. اوريكم شويه عيال يا غالي. ديروا سكرين للطريق. تو ديروا انتم تأثير للطريق الصوت.
In India.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, that was so sad.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with something like stand-up comedy, I mean, it's really hard to really get, I mean, you know, it's hard to really get it in a different language, but he just was so full. I mean, he was so engaging and just so full of life. And you know, it's just so important to make people laugh, and people like him matter a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Do you notice that? Do you see that pattern? It's like the ones that should be staying are the ones that are going.
Yeah.
It just seems like that's what happens.
Yeah.
These bad ones that are crazy and all that other stuff, they just seem like they're here forever.
I know, huh? Yeah. Yeah, like Henry Kissinger.
Yep.
I should have done something.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
You want to take a break?
And at the end,
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll be back in a little bit, Facebook.
for what you've done, how you participate, to take responsibility for it. There's a number of people that died
What the
from
heck
their addictions.
is going on?
And in some way, I'm a part of it.
Oh, it froze up on her brother. Oh,
You know, it's hard when you feel like you're part of the problem and you don't stop. I just think I should have been a better person than I was. I sucked as a human being. And for years, when I think about it, I was basically as bad as him. I regret that and will regret it. And I'm so sorry that I
can't stand it. Yeah. I'd rather ride solo self-food with a free roll. Shots popping off at the mouth, makes you reload. Got a lot of hate, but the money you can't speak on. G's never silence, pulling strings like a tampon. If I bring violence, disappears like a phantom. I'm an alpha move, but nothing I do is random. Not in it for the fandom. I'm trying to see the Hamptons, but I will take two girls, call me standing when I got them. My folks like a old lady, they get it cracking. My nigga Paris listen on the trip. TV cracking for the fools, broadcasting, but don't print, no restriction. Got it at Rolling Stone, chatting on your action. Bitches got my issues, the Life magazine. Reload the magazine between the lines, better read. Niggas sweet for the cream, niggas soft for the thing. Niggas say better, but you're not gonna sleep on me. We gon' see like an ocean, we just floating through the seas. Hope to the sea, just a sliver of belief. But we'll look for some relief, cause this shit is getting sheep. When you hit a rock bottom and you crash into a reef. Jellyfish, jelly dick gas nigga. Not less a minute with my action sicker. Wanna be a Toys R Us kid, no bigger. I'ma send you kids to bed without dinner. Every prophet in the Bible was a sinner. My whole family likes the Bible is my center. Bitch, you better not come for me if I ain't sent you. Baby, you should run for me for Smokey Sinja. My daddy is Black Belt Jones, I am a ninja. Bitches on their Sherlock Holmes, they try to get you. Niggas be like, Dad, Doug, bitch trying to stick you. I be on my Lisa left, like you just listen. He's always trying to do me like my ancestors. Can't let you hang, gang, gang. The new thing is we don't fuck with lanes. So we're saying chasing bread while you barely getting bread. Bought a house, jumped ahead while you barely getting bread. I'm a diamond in the rough. I should be on top of it. Fucking rap like a savage, but I look like a saint. I'm the king, I'm the king. Even if I am a queen, I'm the king, I'm the king. Even if I am a queen, every verse a competition. Every song it has a mission. Even in my verse I have no vision. Spicy with my words, my mouth is still, but not a stain that you hold is a poem. You cleaning up your kitchen. I'd rather be locked up there is your prison. I still love all natural women. Namaste, Bajuism, black girl magic, the power of the prism. Coconut oil to make my melanin glisten. I've been praying hard, now I just embrace the blessing. Falling on my heart, I refuse to get accepted. Get to the existence of the universe is listening. Yeah, I'm on one. Yeah, I'm on one. Yeah, I'm on, yeah, I'm on, yeah, I'm on one. Speaking to existence, get the universe is listening. I'm on.
I'm getting shattered while the shots flock together. Think they good? Well, I'm better. The lane and I pull up for that jump. Real boss around when they pull up on that pump. I'm getting shattered while the birds flock together. Think they good? Well, I'm better. The lane and I pull up for that jump. Real boss around when they pull up on that pump. No stocks, I ain't spend no checks. I ain't spit the crap game, I ain't talk shit. Niggas broke, trying to show out. Cause they got no clout. Talking on the name only make me bigger. Got fake new, I'm that nigga. They always had funds, holes and fire blood. Wrong with them hitters, gangsta thug. Can't say nothing, really went left. Mad cause the bitch didn't want you played it for the stress. Bro, I salute you, you didn't go. Get judged, you shoot the video at our studio. Damn, did you pay for your time? That shit's funny, a waste of my time. Clown, but I'm a roast beef. They call itself an ape more like a chimpanzee. Fatty motherfuckers, what I do. They come pop up on your own one. It's nothing to do with stylist. Eat good without the head down. Boy, get off the nuts on that fair route. Shut it down. Kicks amazing. On the dog joke. If I'm blazing, break a beat down. That's the soundtrack. Price going up, he gon' need a couple stacks. I'm the Mac with the cheese and the rollies. Keep that thing tucked, I'll be all on my rollie. All my cronies, 5150. You know where I'm at if you got up on a big with me. It's with D on my Ricky Morty. Put me on stage, make the crowd won't ignore it. Rap orgy, the guy get it done. Spend dough, get dough, just to have fun. I'm a hustler, I'm known for that. You known to run your mouth? Him cat, real rap. You don't want the smoke. Now, if we go here, it won't be a choke. EPA, back on Italy. Got a bunch of real ones that gon' roll with me. Give me. If I go in, lyrical beast, it ain't no win. Reppin' the town everywhere I go. Keep my name out your mouth like a motherfucking hoe. Yeah.
My woman got $1 million body with a food stamp face. I give her beer money for a champagne cake. She told me don't bother that I'm a cheapskate, so I took her out to make cheese on her first date. Yeah, she's having fun and I'm loving it. She got me singing ba 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 ba. Watch her touching it. She's a cheapskate and I'm a cheapskate. Getting head with a Happy Meal on her first date. Yeah, I only love her when I'm getting sloppy topped off. You throw the wind is hard, suck it to the saw. Throw goat, don't choke, act in her car. She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. Only love her when I'm getting sloppy topped off. Deep throw the wind is hard, suck it to the saw. Throw goat, don't choke, act in her car. She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. Been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw.
Man, I know you ain't in here calling me no lockjaw on a motherfucking song. Man, you talking about me? Let me tell you how I use temptation. Temptation, oral fixation, tongue on his tip, cause he loves sensation. Throat bait, hanging off the bed. I'm only giving throat, I'm beyond getting head. Tip shooting, eyeballs gleaming, mouth watering, cause I'm waiting for the seed. But no, I don't choke on my throat, baby demon. Got him on my throat like I'm cutting out his teeth. Please believe me, I'm the only one to see. Head so good, call it throat, baby. I said head so good, call it throat, baby.
Yeah. And it's Global Radio Podcast. Yes, we are. Boom. All right, you ready to get back into this or what?
Yes, I am.
Good. Bam.
Age was listening. Thank you, Age.
Hey, shout out to Age. Check out his show on Sundays, 4 to 6, Mutiny Radio. It gets ugly on Sundays, man. Ugly. Mutiny Radio, 4 to 6 Sundays.
Yes, yes. Check that out.
And also the first Fridays of the month, Mob, MOB Radio with Najee and Age. So that's another one that's on from 8 to 10 on Fridays, every first Friday of the month.
Yeah, yeah. And what about our show?
And our show, of course.
Of course.
Come on now. Tuesdays from 8 to 10. And it's Global Radio.
Yeah. But
I'm not finished yet.
Okay.
And on Marin, 717 Marin Street. Integra, is that how you say it?
Integrity, yeah.
Integrity.
Yeah.
We got that on every third Friday, I think that is, right?
Yes, every third Friday.
From, what is it, 7
to
10?
11, yeah.
Yeah, so 7 to 10, so that's another one.
Yeah.
Man, all these, woo.
I know, huh?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I know. I'm nervous about it, but Mouse will be there. Then this person that's supposedly really into it and hasn't made it for the last couple ones told me that he's going to be in England, but he's going to get up at like 3 in the morning to get on the Facebook Live with us. So,
well, once we keep doing it, I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of people coming on. I have a feeling it's going to catch on.
Okay, good. Okay, so the New York Times Magazine had an article that caught my eye the other day called How to Do Everything, with a whole list of stuff. So I'm going to read off a couple ones and let me know which ones you want me to stop on. I have some with them. Okay.
Okay.
How to do everything. Remember people's names, roll a joint, skip a stone, hold a stranger's baby, escape from a car in water, knot a cherry stem with your tongue, beat a polygraph test, crack a safe, go back to flip phone, have sex in a canoe, write a condolence letter, play dead, rescue a cat from a tree, become less angry, talk to dogs, thwart facial recognition, escape a rip current, tell gunfire from fireworks, sing in tune, break up with your therapist. Yeah, undress someone quickly, use a whiteboard, apologize to a child, suture a wound, run for local office, tell a joke, fake a British accent, survive a stampede, escape a burning building, barricade a door, survive a shark attack, mend a pair of jeans, deliver a baby, find a 4-leaf clover. Okay, well, I'm going to read that one. I thought it was okay. So first you have to believe that you'll find. Okay, so what you do is look at the whole thing. Don't look clover by clover. Look at a patch, and then her record, this lady has found 300 in a day. And so you basically, it's the way you try to avoid that. If you look at the whole thing, you can see at a whole, don't go clover by clover, look at the whole thing and don't, yeah, because it's a different, it'll stand out if you don't look one by one. Like if you look at the whole picture, you can see the difference of the silhouette. Okay, how to escape a sinking ship.
Winners choose them train Mercedes.
If your boat is going under, you will hear a verbal abandon ship command from the captain. After that, crew members will begin lowering lifeboats. There are no international maritime laws dictating that women and children board first. That's just in the movies. Modern ships are equipped with enough lifeboat seats for everyone. Wear layers of warm clothing. Take along any necessary prescription drugs and fresh water. If possible, tie all the lifeboats together so that you don't all go floating off in different directions. Okay, how to remember people's names. Concentrate during an introduction, listen carefully to the person, and then take a picture in your mind of a unique thing about that person and register that uniqueness with their name. And as soon as the mental photo is shot, start saying the name. Use the name 2 or 3 times during the first interaction. I know there's people that do that. Now we know why. When meeting important people, do a little homework ahead of time. If you are not sure how to pronounce a name, try it and let the person help you. Neuroimaging studies show that the sound of our own names produces distinct activity patterns in the regions of our brain responsible for our sense of self. Everyone likes to hear their name. Some people kind of overdo it, but okay. How to how to fake a British accent. To sound like a Brit, you'll need a flexible tongue tip. And for that, you must exercise, said Barbara Berkery, a dialect and voice coach. Americans have particularly lazy tongue tips. When training an actor in a British accent, she starts with a tongue boot camp of silent flicks and twists. There is a physicality to speech we prattling adults often overlook. Americans speak with wide, almost grin-like mouths. British speech requires a dropped jaw and verbally open lips. Imagine you are blowing kisses and then say the word swan. Clearly enunciate consonants. Don't, for example, say T's as D's. It is butter, not butter. That's a very American thing. You should hear the full T at the end of cat. Practice British consonants and vowels with repetitive ditties like, okay, let's see if I can do this. 10 tiny typists tripped through the tunnel. 10 tiny typists tripped through the tunnel. After that, graduate to reading whole chapters of British novels aloud.
All right, Anna, you got to give us a talking British for a minute. See if you can do it.
Well, I just read the article.
No, but you got to try. Give it a good try. Try to say something in British. Like try to say not. Do it, Anna. Come on. You got to try it one time. And if you do one, you do it, I'll do it after you. Go for it.
Marmalade and butter. Marmalade and butter.
Like a sentence. Come on now.
You do it. You first.
How you doing today, Anna? Hello, Anna.
Fabulous.
How you doing?
Fabulous. I just can't. I need more practice. Okay. Escape from a car in water.
I don't even want to know how to do that. I hope I never have to know how to do that.
Okay, well, we don't need to. Okay.
That's something like I hope I never have to learn how to do.
I know, huh? Tell a joke. Okay, that's a good one. A lot of people are so bad with it. People should not be able to telegraph where a joke's going. The only way to guarantee surprise is to create original material. Well, that's most people can't do that.
I got a good joke. You want to hear it?
Sure.
How did the Soda lose the basketball game?
I don't know.
Because Sierra missed.
Well,
I know it's funny, but hey.
Supposedly it's yeah, that's not a very good section because it's supposed to be, they're not taking timing into account enough. Build a tree house. Well, I know that if you're in a sinking car, you want to try, there's pockets of air. See, I've read about this elsewhere. So you want to just try and like get up above and get to where there's an air pocket.
Yeah, and I also heard you're supposed to try to get out. You're supposed to try to get out before it sinks. You're supposed to, like, as soon as you get in the water, some people tend to just sit in their car.
Yeah.
Some people do. It's not, I don't know why they do that, but people, I've read some that they tend to sit in their car.
Really?
Not thinking of the fact that they can sink instead of them hurrying up and get out the car. I don't know if they're in shock or not, but you ain't never peeped that out, that most people that do get trapped in the car, they're supposed to try to get out before it floods with water. It's supposed to get out and open the door or break the window before it gets in the water, because you can't do it once you get in the water. It's hard.
Yeah, because you can't yeah, see, that's where that's where because like you're supposed to use like the head part of your seat to break windows, because if you have that's the problem with automatic windows, you're fucked.
Yeah, well, if you can break the window, like if you're not in shock or you're not panicking, and you can just as soon as you get on the water, because you're gonna kind of float, you're not gonna most people don't fall straight into the water.
It takes a minute, yeah.
Takes a minute. If you can break the window and they're smart enough to just kind of jump out, you'll be all right. But
yeah, I think that's the thing with like any sort of thing. I mean, try to train yourself to be calm. I mean, and like, because so most people like just kind of sit. Like
I don't know if it's not, I don't know. They don't, I think they panic in a sense of not trying to get out as quickly as they can. Then by the time they're already submerged, it's kind of hard to try to, you can't really break a window when it's submerged with water. It's a lot harder to do that. And of course, opening the door is like,
yeah,
really, really hard, almost to impossible because the water.
Water pressure.
So
yeah. I mean, breaking a window is hard too.
that's what I'm saying. That's why you got to break it before you get all the way under the water. You got to try to hurry up and bust it real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So it says move quickly. Minivans might float for as long as 10 minutes, but the odds of survival are highest if you get out in the first 60 seconds, just like Roselle just said. In a submersion study from the University of Manitoba, 3 passengers were able to exit with a child mannequin through a single driver's side window in just 53 seconds. And electric car windows will continue to work after impact with water. So yeah. Yeah, so that's the big says try and get out to the top to the top of your car. So
it says what?
Try to get to the top of your car and then decide like if you want to try and swim or because the car is gonna, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on the car. So
yeah, it does. But I think more with me is once you get out, you always have a better chance than if you're stuck in the car.
Yes. Yeah.
So either way it goes, I mean, if you can't swim, it's kind of bad for you, but shoot, at least, I don't know, man. Hopefully there's something around that you can grab and hold on to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So yes, so this is stuff that you don't want to know, but good to know. And yeah, the air pop, because that's what I remember reading about, like that because people about somebody that like they can tell how long somebody survived sometimes, like if somebody can be in the car, but they can like find an air pocket, I guess, for a little bit and not like immediately die. So something I was very excited about this week was the new Strike book novel, the Strike series by J.K. Rowling, the detective Cormoran Strike and his detective partner Robin Ellicott. And it's by J.K. Rowling, who's faced a lot of scandals and opposition and all of that. We're not going to get into why. The point is, it's weird because the book is they're solving a murder. It's somebody who has a comic strip is attacked online, and then she's killed, and they need to try and figure out, people people get mad at her and she gets all this harassment and doxing and all of that, which is what happened to J.K. Rowling. So as soon as the book came out, she was saying, no, it's not because of what happened to me. It's I had the idea before. And her books are really, really long, and this was super long, but one of the reasons it's so long, she does this really gimmicky stuff. Is part of the it's about the person that was murdered created a comic strip that a cartoon, and then a game was created based on the cartoon. And then the people that ran the game got mad at her because she just wasn't that I don't know, man, she made some comment like she wasn't really that interested in the game, so they were out to get her. And So a lot of the book is the gamers talking, and it's in this tiny font. And I was reading it on the Kindle, and you're supposed to be able to enlarge things on a Kindle, and you can't. It's so fucking weird. And so my dad likes those books, likes the Cormoran Strikes books too, but I told him, I was like, Dad, you're not gonna, this will drive you crazy. Just, you're not going to want to read this. And I'm waiting. I got it on my Kindle because it's cheaper, and I'm waiting for the book to come into the library. I don't really want to buy it right now. So I'm hoping it'll be better with the hard copy, but then not only does it, so I mean, there's pages of communication from people on this game, and also tweets. And what I found what I find so odd to me is, why do you want to put that out there? Like, in a way, to me, if you're going out of the way, like, okay, you're quoting tweets, you're quoting misogynist, racist, anti-Semitic tweets as part of your story. So, okay, you're going to put this in your story because it's the story, it's about these people, it's about this happening. I'm like, well, why can't you just say this happened instead of spelling it all out like that? Because to me, you're just contributing to it. You know, I mean, I just feel like she has this gratuitous aspect. It's like, you can say that, you can say somebody used racial epithets and that will get your meaning across, or you can like go through a whole thing. Oh, they said this, and this. Like, okay, we get it. Why do you need to? So I just feel like you're perpetuating it. You really, the more, just, you don't need to keep putting it out there. It's toxic. Yeah. And she just, like, to me, she just has this really weird sort of twisted side. I mean, her characters, there's this whole scene at the end where, like, with any of the murderers and people, there's this whole scene at the end when you find out who the murderer is, and he's saying he's going to do this and this, and she just spells it all out. And so to me, it's just, that's kind of it's just disturbing. Like, why do you go out of your way to spell out all these threats? Yeah, that just doesn't really make sense to me. So yeah, so I didn't like the book as much as I like some of the other ones, because I didn't, so much of it was like in that little tiny font that I couldn't read, and I don't really want to read like the tweets and gamers anyway. So people are viewing it as her kind of taking vengeance on the people that have harassed her. And I don't know. I mean, it's so polarizing. Like 2 years ago, when her prior book was coming out, I posted on Facebook that I was looking forward to it. And some friends of mine posted like, oh, but Anna, blah, 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 she's so terrible, blah, 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 blah. And so I just deleted those comments, and they got mad at me for deleting the comments. And I think I talked about it at the time. And so now I'm just not even posting anything about the fucking books. Just not even worth it to me. I'm like, shit, it may, so somebody was posting, I have all these friends that have been like hurt by this. I'm thinking, like, I don't care about your friends. But so yeah, I'm already hoping the next book is better. And okay, so in Alaska, I was in a meeting last week. Sarah Palin, former Veep candidate. Oh my God, this is so fucked up. Not all my shit. Let's watch the next video because my notes aren't on this, and they should be.
You know, my wife's like, what'd you do? After, 6 months of doing this, she's seeing all the changes that are happening. And she said,
In India, authorities have demolished 2 high-rise apartment buildings after a court ruled that they were built illegally. And crowds watched from nearby rooftops as the towers were taken down by controlled explosions. India's Supreme Court ordered the demolition after a long legal battle determined the towers violated several regulations as well as fire safety rules. The buildings were knocked down on Sunday outside New Delhi, and demolitions like this are rare in India, despite widespread illegal construction.
Funeral ceremonies of
You know, my question with that one is, Anna? Oops.
Yeah, I'm here.
How did they have that much time to build something like that without no one stopping them from the beginning?
Well, because they probably just didn't care.
But they care now. Once it's built, they care.
What happened? Did the beginning part must have gotten cut out Let's try it again because it's supposed to show them imploding. Can you try it again?
You want to? Yeah, because it's only 32 seconds, but I'll do it again. You want me to do it again?
Yeah, do it again.
All right, let's try that again then. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
In India, authorities have demolished 2 high-rise apartment buildings after a court ruled that they were built illegally. And crowds watched from nearby rooftops as the towers were taken down by controlled explosions. India's Supreme Court ordered the demolition after a long legal battle determined the towers violated several regulations as well as fire safety rules. The buildings were knocked down on Sunday outside New Delhi, and demolitions like this are rare in India, despite widespread illegal construction.
Okay, yeah.
Funeral ceremonies have taken place in Moscow.
You want this to play?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, I think it just, I think one of the things that can happen, I mean, sometimes people just get sick of, I mean, in a lot of places it can just be really corrupt. You have to pay people off to build buildings or something. So sometimes people just get sick of waiting and just build it.
Oh, wow.
That could be possible. Or they just decide to just do it anyway. They get sick of waiting around.
That's just funny that they just built it.
I know.
That looked like something that took, I mean, it looked like it had to at least take almost a year.
Yeah.
At least,
Yeah, a year's not that long though. If you can, I mean,
just to build something without no one noticing it's there until it's already there.
Oh, people noticed it, but it didn't say how long it had been there. See, I bet that what happens was you could build it, but then you could appeal it. And I don't know. I mean, I bet you can draw stuff like that out for a really long time and not have your, and be collecting your money. That's what I think. I just thought it was pretty fucking wild to look at. So, yeah. Okay. Well, the next one's Gorby's funeral. Let's look at that one.
Funeral ceremonies have taken place in Moscow for the last leader of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, who died on Tuesday. Earlier, hundreds of mourners queued to pay their respects to Mr. Gorbachev, whose body was lying in state in Moscow. The ceremony, though, was not a full state funeral, and President Vladimir Putin said he was too busy to attend. Our Russia editor Steve Rosenberg has this report.
It was the final farewell to the man who changed the world. In the columned hall of Moscow's House of Unions, Mikhail Gorbachev lay in state. A steady stream of mourners filing past his open casket. There was a guard of honor, but the last leader of the Soviet Union had not been honored with a full state funeral. A sign that today's Kremlin has little interest in guarding Mr. Gorbachev's legacy. Many Russians blame Gorbachev for the fall of the USSR, the collapse of their superpower. And yet out on the streets, Muscovites were queuing up to pay their respects. Gorbachev had given many here their first taste of freedom and democracy. In today's Russia, both those things are under attack.
These people who came to Gorbachev to thank him, to say thank you, Mr. Gorbachev. You gave us a chance, and we lost this chance.
The end of an era. We hear that phrase so often, don't we? Its meaning has almost been diluted. But the death of Mikhail Gorbachev really does mark the end of an extraordinary era in history. A rare period when Russia was opening up to the world, when people here were being given freedoms, and when East and West pledged to live together in peace. Mikhail Gorbachev had played the key role in ending the Cold War, working with America to slash nuclear arsenals. But under Vladimir Putin, East-West confrontation is back. President Putin did not attend the funeral today. He was too busy, said the Kremlin. And there were few foreign dignitaries. Hungary's leader, Viktor Orban, the only Western leader here. A sign of Russia's international isolation. Steve Rosenberg, BBC News, Moscow.
Prop 27.
Wow. So I wanted to look at that since we, since we talked about Gorbachev. I just was very moved at all the regular people just standing in line to see him, because the Russian government does control the media. So it's just very difficult for people to get accurate news. I was looking at some segments about what's being reported there about the war in Ukraine. However, it's not like it was before, because people have the internet and, there's ways, of course that's going to be monitored, but there's plenty of ways to get around that. So people aren't as isolated as they were before the internet. But I don't know. It's like he lived long, and it's just sad. It's sad that somebody like him, you just can see everything you've done, everything you've worked for be destroyed. It's really sad. And, somebody like him, I remember Gorbachev came to Reagan's funeral. It's I remember really, because when Reagan died, it was the first time, I think it's about the first official funeral that I remember. I think it had been quite a while before any big figures died. And a lot of people were just sort of captivated by it anyways, because it was Reagan. So Reagan and Margaret Thatcher came and were sitting next to each other. And historically, that was just really interesting. And I mean, it's sad that that there weren't world leaders at his funeral because of the war. It's really sad. Yeah. Okay, so I was at a meeting for the Queer Democrats the other night, and the son of somebody that was there came on to let us know that Sarah Palin was defeated in the primary for Congress. See, man, to me, it's like, okay, the lady, like she was governor of Alaska, you know, that ran for vice president, and then when she came back, she stepped down from being the governor. And you know, I mean, I remember that, and she was, and so now she's running for Congress. So, you know, I mean, my attitude would have been like, well, fuck, you know, you stepped down from being the governor, so why should anybody trust you to do this? Although, I don't know. I mean, I kind of think that because I don't like her in the first place, but I don't know. I mean, people do have, if you need, I don't totally believe, but I mean, I'm not going to like anything she does, but I don't know. I mean, sometimes you have reasons to step down from things, but okay. So Alaska now has ranked choice voting, where you don't need to vote for just one candidate. You can vote for a couple and have your first, second, third choice. I wish, see, that just makes so much more sense to me than needing to pick one person. Because I mean, that's just logical. You'll say like, okay, well, I want this, and if I can't have this, then I want that. I mean, it just sucks. You should be able to have a second choice. It shouldn't be like just one person, all or nothing. But so Mary Peltola is they were running, this is kind of crazy because if she's this election was to fill a seat that by a member of Congress who had been a Republican that had been in office since 1973, which was the year that Mary Peltola was born. Isn't that crazy? That's how long the guy had been. Yeah. And so it was a special election to fill his seat. So she won the primary, but she's still going to need to campaign again in November. But anyway, she beat Palin. She's the first Indigenous candidate. And I mean, she would be the first Indigenous political leader, I mean, politician, like office holder, if she's elected. And she's now this is even crazier. She's the first candidate that was born in Alaska. Isn't that weird? I mean, she's like the first one for whom it would be their home state.
Right.
Yeah. So her husband works for the Bureau of Indian Affairs. She's a enrolled tribal member. So hopefully she'll win. I mean, apparently she's pro-choice, and that's getting and she's talked about the history of forcible sterilization of Indigenous women, and pointed out that, like, okay, this is the same thing. Okay, this is like the anti-choice, you know, it's like, okay, you're preventing people from having babies or you're forcing people to have babies. It's the same thing. It is a totally personal and individual choice. So she's making those connections that people are responding to. And I mean, Congress is just interesting because people need to, it's just supposed to be, I mean, it's a lot more regional. And so people feel like I mean, born and raised in Alaska, indigenous. I mean, people are going to feel like she's one of them and that she's the person that should be representing their state. So yes, I really hope she wins. And I mean, I think she gets along with a lot of, because again, I mean, like Alaska's huge, but it doesn't have a large population. And so sometimes when you have a smaller communities, people just are going to be able to get along with each other better because they just have fewer choices. So after his oh God, did you see what was going on in Canada?
Oh, what's happening in Canada?
There was a mass stabbing, which I'd never heard of before. That was Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 people were stabbed to death and like 18 people were wounded, all from the same 2 people. So, and then they have the same last name. It wasn't clarified. It wasn't clarified like whether whether they were brothers, but they had the same last name. One of them has been found dead. The other one is still at large. And it happened in one of the provinces that's made up of indigenous people, like a town with like 200 people in it. So when something happens like that, everybody knows somebody. But I mean, one guy is still on the lam and they're saying like, you know, there's practically a shelter in place order. Because I was like, when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck is a mass stabbing? I didn't even. Yeah.
Well, they had that's stuff like that has happened in well, it wasn't a stabbing, but it's happened in San Francisco before.
Mass stabbings?
Well, it's not a stabbing, so to speak, but you heard of the zebra killers, right?
Yeah.
Where they were going around hacking people with machetes. I mean, it wasn't a stabbing, but they were going around hacking people with machetes. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Did they ever catch any of them?
yes, they did. They caught them all.
They caught them all?
Yes.
Okay. I was reading something about that. I just heard of it recently.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They're in prison.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, this was just 2 people. I mean, it was.
That was like it's kind of still similar. The other one was 3 people, but it's still kind of the same thing. They were just going around hitting people, whacking people with a machete. That's just crazy. I don't even get logic in that, but
yeah,
I think it has to do with drugs or something. It has to be.
Yeah. Well, they targeted certain people, and they claimed that it was like some political thing too. That's right, because I remember. Okay, because I was reading about a different case that had some. I was reading because at the same time there was a serial killer called the Doodler, and it was happening at the same time. So I think there was confusion about whether it was the same people or different people doing it, but the Doodler was never caught. Yeah, how scary. So yeah, they haven't really, not much has been said so far about the Canada thing, because people were targeted, but it says some people were targeted and some weren't. So yeah. Anyway, very, very, very sad.
There were multiple doctors doing what Dr. Murray did. and that they had done over the course of years.
And then, well, the other thing, what reminded me before I was looking, because Pope Francis did the tour, just did the trip to Canada to, you know, an apology tour, and then on the way back, he was saying to people, you know, that he might think about stepping down. The problem with that is that the prior pope is still alive. There's a Pope Emeritus, and he stepped down. I mean, it's been like 10 years or something. And, you know, because of ill health, but he's still alive. And his, so then people are saying, well, if Pope Francis steps down too, then there will be like 2 emeritus popes. But the the quote I thought was interesting was, modern medicine means you can carry on living in a frail state in a way that you couldn't before. And because you used to be, that's kind of the thing, you know, with like, you know, like the Queen of England's 95 or something. And you didn't, like, now, I mean, people used to, now you can be old for a long time now and not die. So modern medicine means you can carry on living in a frail state in a way that you couldn't before. So, you know, when you're looking at things, so like the popes were elected for life, but now there's just medical interventions and all of that will keep people alive, but not really healthy enough to do all the things they're supposed to be doing if they have some position like that. Being elected for life now needs to be understood as long as you have vitality, because they're saying that, well, he needs to wait. He can't become a Pope Emeritus until the other Pope Emeritus dies, but who knows how long that can be, you know. And like, unless they're like total backsliders, I mean, popes probably led, you know, pretty healthy life, you know, it's not like they're going to be smokers or drinkers. I mean, they could, you know, they could have been, but, you know, it's not. So yeah, they could be living for a while. So I don't know. I mean, the world is just changing, and it's just one of the reasons why there needs to be more understanding and awareness of quality of life for elders, because they just live a lot longer. And that's part of the problem with, you know, like when Social Security was developed, 65 was old, and it's not now. So, I mean, it's not young, but it's not old.
You know, I kind of hate how they do that with Social Security and stuff, trying to, it's like they even though they say that, it's almost like they try to make the age of it go up higher by saying, well, 65 isn't old anymore, it's young. You know what's gonna happen? Yeah, but come on, what's gonna happen? Eventually they're gonna say, years from now, they're gonna be like, 95 is young. You can't get your Social Security until you're 95.
Well, no, I mean, I understand the reasons why it's a problem, because people have been like working and expecting it. But come on, man. I mean, how many people do you know that are 65 that are still, people are 65 are still totally active.
Yeah, but the problem is with it, to me, on the work side of it,
yeah,
is what they do when they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Means people have to work longer to get. Then that's the part that's bad. Even if you could say that okay, people are more active, but it's like, dude, you got to give them time to be able to do something while they're active. Not.
Oh, I know. I know that is the concern. However, it is, it's also true that it's different than it was. It's a lot different. Life expectancy is a lot different. And
I kind of agree in this. I kind of disagree with that a little bit. I think they say that to prolong like Social Security and retirement for people. I don't think it's necessarily, I mean, dude, some people, I mean, they can be active and stuff, but some people have a lot of issues, but they, you know what I'm saying? They'd still be able to do something. And to me, when you say, okay, 65 is still kind of young, then they say, okay, well, we can raise the Social Security up to, you know, they can get it when they're 69.
I know.
That just doesn't, to me, that's not cool.
I know, but like there's just so many, like how many, there's a lot of people, even when they get to be 65, don't retire because it's not enough money.
Yeah, some of them don't, but at least if they can't retire, some of them retire and they do something a little bit easier to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so they have that money coming in. So like you said, they can work at Walmart for 2 or 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's better than them having to be back at work working 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And depending on what their job is, you know, the physicality of the work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sure, people have issues, and then people can have issues when they're much younger too, and then you have that's when you have. And
I agree.
Disability and all of that, but there's much more medical interventions now, and there's much more, there's people are, and then sometimes there's too many interventions.
And see, that's my point too. Also, is then you got to look at it like that. I get the interventions that can help them, but sometimes it gets to a point where people's body just has to rest. It's their time to go.
Absolutely.
And it's like you can keep giving them cortisone shots, giving them pain pills, but I think I'm even one of the people that believe you should be able to retire at like 55.
Well, yeah,
that would be a good time for someone to be able to kind of enjoy their last bit of life.
Well, shit, man. 55 is not the last. It's not the last.
No, the last bit of.
Exactly, of vitality.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've known people, like I said, that I've worked. We had a supervisor that worked with us who passed away while working. He was there, and he was almost 75, 76 years old.
Yeah.
And he stayed there, and he seemed like he was okay.
A lot of people do.
And I just kind of honestly think, like, at least in your 50s, I don't know. I just kind of feel that gives you a little bit more time to do more. I don't know. That's from what I see. And I'm seeing this from people because I see people who do retire. And a lot of people I know who retire when they're past 60, I'm going to hate to say it, like, they don't last that long.
And which sucks. I mean, part of it is, there's people that like one of my neighbors, he had a real physical job and he kept going for a while after he turned 65 because he wanted to, but then he was like, he was ready. But there's definitely people that, I think part of the problem is a lot of people don't, if all they've done is work, there's like a lot of people that just don't really know what to do with themselves when they retire and get depressed. So, which is part of the reason of the problem with, the whole thing with having longer lifespans, it's created different problems, for example, like living a lot longer in a frailer state and understanding like, okay, if you are 55 or 60 or something, like, you're not old, you're not young, but you're not really old. Like, what are you going to do? So yeah, I know, but it sucks when people like retire and then don't get to enjoy it. So, but but then there's people get bored too, but then there's definitely a lot of people that then find other stuff to do. And then the problem is, and then a lot of people, are simply continuing to work because of the health insurance. And then once they can get on Medicaid, then they're cool. So that just kind of goes back to to our society and the extent that people need to go to, you know, because we don't have medical care. And yeah, and then, you know, it's certainly that's, you know, yeah, I mean, there's people retiring that still have student loans, or people retirement age that still have student loans. So
It's sad to say
yeah.
that Michael Jackson died. But Michael Jackson.
Yep.
Michael Jackson. And all of those other doctors that enabled him with opioids.
So, yeah, I'm not sure if we'll have flyers for our next show because Lou's busy. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's all good. It's all good. Just like I said, consistency. That's the thing. Consistency. As long as we're doing it, it'll work.
Okay, and I told Verlania we can do some fashion stuff.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah, I told her what she should do is just simply take a bunch of selfies of herself in different Bewitched outfits.
That'll be cool.
Don't you think?
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
You know what you can also do is, since you have the camera, because you have the camera facing everybody, right, on your computer.
Yeah.
You can have her do like a runway thing.
But that's just, you know, but
No.
well, but that would just be kind of boring because she'll need to put on an outfit, then go back and change. I want to get a bunch of photos
Gotcha.
in the different outfits to show.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, she can totally, I mean, she
Like she
practically
can walk through and watch when she walks through, then you guys talk about Bewitched for a minute. She changes. And she comes back and through again. That'll be cool. That'll be different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Verlania is kind of a permanent, I think she's practically on a permanent runway.
It's cool. Shout out to Verlania.
Verlania, we love you. And Mouse, we love Mouse. It was just so
Was
funny.
Mouse the dude that was there the last time?
Yeah.
Hey, what up, Mouse?
Yeah. Yeah. Mouse really loves Bewitched. So, you know, that's part of it. It's just like when I was at, I'm so glad I didn't want to, I went to that party on Sunday. I had a really good time. But I was telling somebody about the club, and another dude that was there was just cracking up. I mean, not in a mean way or something, but I was like, what's so funny? And he's like, it's Bewitched. So, you know, I mean, there's not gonna be a ton of people that are that crazy about Bewitched. But yeah, I mean, the conversation that me and Mouse were getting into last time, that is a real lover of Bewitched. So yeah, you know, but yeah, hopefully more people will be coming in for the music and stuff. So, and everything.
Coolio.
Yes. Yes. So, okay, well, I think we're good. You got anything to announce? DJing anywhere this weekend?
No, I don't think nothing this weekend.
Okay.
None I can think of. So we are clean this weekend.
Oh, okay.
What about you? Anything for you?
Not that I know of. Mm-mm.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thanks everybody that was listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Global History Radio.